Hi, this is Gwen again. I wanted to talk about why I'm doing these YouTube videos and why I want to write, why I have a blog and why I made a Facebook called Bipolar and what I want to do with it. And I didn't exactly have a specific intention on this besides trying to make a network of people with bipolar so they don't feel alone. Also, I make these videos because I feel like I've gone through a lot and I've made it to the other side. And I just want to share anything that I know that could possibly help anyone else. That's pretty much everything on that subject. And also, you're probably wondering, who am I to be giving any sort of advice or stuff like that? So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am 28 years old right now, and I have known that I've had bipolar for 5 years. I first got sick when I was 22 years old with being manic, but the thing is that when I'm manic, I get a smidge of psychosis. Well, I get extremely paranoid when I'm manic, and I get extremely paranoid when I'm depressed. So whether I'm manic or I'm depressed, I'm normally really scared of people, while at the same time I'm dealing with all of what's going on with the high and what's going on with the low. For me, the lows, it's different because the lows are really hard and it's really hard to bear feeling that depressed. And with the highs, it doesn't feel bad to be that happy. It's awesome to feel that happy, but the thing is when you're that happy, you do really reckless things, and I can destroy my life in a matter of days when I'm that happy, when I'm that high. And for me, when I'm that high and that happy, I spend all the money that I have. If I can't buy enough stuff, I give away money. I give away all my belongings. Yeah, and when I'm depressed, it just feels way too painful to live. And I've been dealing with, I've only had my first, I really knew I had a problem is when one day I felt fine and I was really happy on top of the world, which was really weird to be that happy. And the next day, it was on Boxing Day, the first time, 6 years ago, and I felt extremely suicidal. I've been labeled with depression since I was 17 years old, and I got labeled with a sleep disorder when I was 15 years old because there were days I couldn't sleep, like literally 2-3 days I would not sleep. And I guess that was bipolar, but I really don't know. But I've been having problems with, I believe, like, my mind. Something was going on, at least since I was 13. When I was 13 years old, I got so scared and so paranoid that people wanted to hurt me that I didn't go to school and I didn't leave my house for 8 months. And I kept all the blinds shut and I just stayed home. And when I was little, I think I was pretty normal, but starting 13 is when I started to realize things. And the only thing from when I was really little is that I used to have night terrors every single night, and I used to be really scared to fall asleep. And I don't know, with my psychiatrist, we don't talk about the past because she doesn't find that very healthy to think about the past or anything upsetting. But when I first found out that I had bipolar 1, I researched all this stuff about bipolar 1. But anybody can write anything on the internet. But a couple times I did see that signs of early on bipolar is night terrors. I don't know how true that is, but I started off with night terrors since I was 3 or 4 years old. And I used to get nightmares, really, really scary nightmares, every single night until I was in my 20s, probably 24. But when I'm really depressed, like after I had my daughter, my only child, I was having back my night terrors every single night during the depression. And even when I'm happy, I would get them. I haven't had them for almost 2 years now, which is really nice because it doesn't feel fun being scared to fall asleep. I've never had I've had a mental health team when I was 17 years old, but after that I haven't had a mental health team. And in my mental health team when I was 17 was therapy to talk about how I felt and why I felt depressed, and a psychiatrist who gave me medication. After that point, I felt pretty normal. I didn't feel like I had any problems with my, I didn't feel like I had a mental illness, but I was pretty stable. Pretty much what I did every day was I worked and I slept and I cleaned. And that was my life. I did move out of my mom's house when I was 17 years old, so literally all I did was work so I could pay for my expenses. When I was 22, I just got out of a breakup from my boyfriend that I was dating since I was 15 years old until I was 22 and a half. I'm not exactly sure what triggered me, but I'm really not sure what triggered it to come out, and I'm really not sure if I've had it my whole life or if I've only had it since I was diagnosed. I never really asked. But the worst part about, besides getting really high and getting rid of things and feeling invincible, which is a really nice feeling, but it's not nice to feel the other end of it. The only thing I like about being really manic is feeling invincible. Not the way that I want to think I can fly or fall to soon death, but it's nice to not feel scared at all. And that's a really nice feeling. Now I feel not scared, but in a really stable way. And I'm really happy to be stable. It doesn't feel nice inside my heart when I'm sick. And even when I'm really happy, my heart still feels really full of pain. And when I'm sad, it feels way too difficult to bear. And there's not really any words for it. It's just absolutely horrible. Because when you think of bipolar, it's very extreme. So you get beyond happy, like your serotonin's off the roof. But then when you get low, you get just as sad, the same amount of sadness that you had happy. So if you're extremely happy, you're extremely, extremely low. I had a really hard time when I was younger. Not worse than anybody else has had it, but I felt really sad when I was little. And the first time I started to feel any sort of happiness was at 24 years old when I met my husband. At the time was my friend. And we soon started to date. But after we started to date, within a couple months, I went off my medication because I didn't think I had bipolar, because I didn't want to have bipolar. I wanted to have borderline personality disorder because I thought that it was better than having bipolar, because I didn't like the idea of having to take medication every single day for the rest of my life. So I was really, really in denial. So I went off my medications, and right away I got super, super, super depressed and very extremely suicidal and really paranoid. So at 24 years old, during my depression, I would firstly, it would feel way too painful to live. There's not even a word for how painful it felt, but it was unreal how painful it was. It was just horrible. And at the same time feeling that way, I just wanted to die to escape my body, because even my body hurt. Like, my skin hurt. I don't know how to explain it, but I just wanted to be released out of my skin. And on top of that, I was really paranoid that anytime I left the house, I thought that people were trying to kill me. I never saw people, but when cars would drive a little bit slower towards me, I would run. And that was then. And then after that, I went back on medication and I got stable. And then I was stable for a while. And then at 25, I got pregnant with my daughter that I have now. And I stayed on all my medications while I was pregnant. And I was super stable while I was pregnant. I felt really whole and happy. But within a week or two after I had my daughter, I got really sick. Even though I was on medication, it just didn't seem to help me with the baby blues. I just got too low. And then after that, I got postpartum depression. So now I've been stable for a while, and I am married, and I have a daughter. And for me, that is really good, because that's what I've wanted my whole life, is to have a really loving husband, a happy marriage. And I didn't specifically want a daughter, but I at least wanted one child. And I feel very blessed to have my family that I have now. The main point that I want to share is that I know what it feels like to feel like you're from hell, and then you come out of it and be back again. Like, feeling stable is awesome. It's not I've been on one specific medication in the past that felt horrible because I felt numb. So if you're feeling numb, that's not a good kind of stable, and talk to your doctor or psychiatrist about that. But the kind of stable I feel is a kind of stable happiness. I have my bad days, but most of the time I'm happy because of the life I have created while being well. Well, if you have any questions, please comment me and I will answer, but that's all I can think of right now. So that's me and my illness. So thank you for listening. Bye.